How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Woodlander Hobbies. So Boylei had just released his next art challenge, and this time it was scenes from Star Wars. Naturally, I was really excited that we were going to be doing something Star Wars this time, so I picked out a scene from one of my favorite Star Wars movies, Episode 7, The Force Awakens. First things first, I took all the X-Wing models outside and primed them with a flat black. Then I left one out and primed the rest with a metallic silver. So the plan for this one is to mimic the color scheme on Poe Dameron's X-Wing, which is just mainly black with some orange. Also a little bit of silver gunmetal for the window trims. And the rest of the X-Wings get a gray, blue, and silver paint job. I also gave one of the droids a paint job of a certain color. See if you can guess what it is. I gave all the windows a black color, then gave every single X-Wing a black wash to bring out those details. Then I plotted out some measurements and took notice of how I wanted the X-Wings to be displayed, so I knew how big I wanted the base to be. Then after I had those measurements, I went and cut it out on the laser. Using the acrylic I cut out, I made a little box to hold in the resin, secured with hot glue. I poured some water into the mold to make sure it was watertight. Then it was time to pour the resin. I am using shallow pour resin, the same stuff I used for the last video, dyed with different types of pigments to get it to a murky, bluish lake color. It's important that you mix resin very thoroughly. Then I poured it into the mold, popped all the bubbles with a heat gun, covered it up, and set it aside to cure. I woke up the next day and discovered that my resin had heated up and basically, well, let's just say it didn't turn out quite right. The corners had all sunk in, and I guess it like expanded or something and burst open and started leaking, but it cured in an instant, so that was interesting to see. It also warped my hobby mat, which is a real bummer. I'm going to try and fix this as best as I can. It may not be perfect, but I'm going to do my best. See what happens. The first thing I did was fill in those caved-in gaps with some UV resin. This is a trick that I learned from Boylei. I then started peeling off the sides. Because it had heated up so much, they were really stuck on there pretty good. So it was pretty frustrating to get him off. I did manage to get off the sides, but the bottom was very hard to get off. After I got off the stubborn plastic, I took it outside and gave it a good sanding and carved in some waves. This was a new technique I had never tried before, and I just decided to try it out. And to bring back the clarity, I took it outside and gave it a coat of gloss varnish. To keep the X-Wing suspended off the water, I decided to use some UV resin and create like a little strip on some parchment paper and cure it, and then cut it into little pieces so I could glue it on the X-Wings. To secure them in place, I just used some more UV resin. This stuff is strong and it holds pretty well. I made some more waves with some UV resin behind the X-Wings. I added some white paint on the waves and added some black acrylic sidings. And after that was done, the model was finished. Well, that's all I've got for you. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch this. I really hope you enjoyed it a lot. This project was kind of a doozy for me, with the resin going bad and all that, but it was a fun process, even though the resin did fail. So, it's okay. Extra special thanks to Boylei Hobby Time for hosting another art challenge. This one was a really good theme. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you on the next video.